can you introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about your career with solar?
So I've been an electrician for around 40 years and in solar for around 13.
So can you tell me what actually is solar power and how does it work?
Solar power basically converts sunlight into electricity through a process which is called photovoltaic, and it's turning the sun into voltage, photovoltaic, and then we convert it into a voltage and current that we use, typically 230 volts in the home or buildings in Australia.
Cool. And in your opinion, in Penrith, how much solar is powering our communities?
I believe it's around 30%,
Okay.
and that's mainly on household solar. We don't have any solar farms, we don't have any major solar installations as such, but around 30%, I believe, is the penetration of solar in our area.
And do you think that that could be increased?
Without a doubt.
By how much?
All the way to the top, because the big thing we're missing out on is people that are renting. We do have a high rental area. They're missing out on it. Home units are missing out on it. A lot of factories that don't see a small factory unit may not benefit from it, but if we cover the whole factories and they all shared in it, similar to home units, we would. So there's a lot more solar to go in the area.
Yeah. A lot of people say solar can be quite expensive to install. Does the benefit of solar outweigh the initial cost of having it installed?
For sure, but it is still an expensive product to purchase, but it is the only product you'll purchase for your home or business that'll actually give you a return on your investment. So within 3 or 4 years, you'll have paid the asset off, and it'll continue to generate well past their warranties. Of the minimum warranties around 10 years for the inverter, and it'll continue to generate, saving you money. The higher the price for electricity, the better solar is for you. So even though you might install it now with a 4-year outlook, you might find that in 2 or 3 years it's paid itself off, simply because of the rising cost of energy. Some small maintenance costs over the time, such as cleaning, testing, which is irregular. Every couple of years you may have to do it. And with the monitoring the customer has access to, as well as the installer has access to, we can generally find if there's a fault or an issue or a lack of generation at any time, so we can react to it quickly.
Why do you think solar power would be a good option for people in our community who might be struggling to pay their power bills in the cost of living crisis?
Because the cost of living crisis is also exacerbated by the increasing cost of energy, and it's one of those things you're paying after you've used it. It'd be like going to the Bowser, filling up with a blindfold and not knowing how much the fuel's going to cost or how much you've used. And it's the same with solar. It's one of those things, you get a bill for electricity 3 months sometimes after you've used it, and you have no idea what you've done. It's automatically deducted from your account, and it's like, oh, where did that go?
Yeah.
Where solar at least takes whatever you don't use of your generation is the only part you're exposed to the market. So if you can cover 80% or 70% of your own usage, you're only going to be exposed to that 20 or 30% with the increase in cost.
Okay. So with the price of energy consistently going up in line with that rising cost of living, in your opinion, is there a way to reduce the cost of power in Penrith?
Well, the simplest way is 2 ways you can do it. Stop using it, which is ridiculous, or come up with your own ways of generating yourself, and also being aware of what you're purchasing and make sure it's higher efficiency and lower energy usage on your appliances, coupled up with a good solar generation, which is the only way you're going to be able to generate your own electricity, and you'll find it's well worth it. I think solar's good. Solar does have its limitations, but I personally think we should be exploring all ways of generating electricity, and whether that's continuing coal for some time until we can come into a more renewable energy sector such as solar and gas and hydro. And if nuclear works out to be part of that mix, well, we need to start looking at that as well. We need to be looking at every way of producing electricity to make it cheaper for us to operate.
So it's more of a few options working in tandem in your
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. We need to look at all the options, and if we need to cut coal out, well, the sooner we can get the other options taking up our power, baseload power, we can then start cutting out the ones we don't want.
Yeah. And what effect do you think nuclear power would have on the Penrith community's electricity?
If it's a cheaper form or more reliable form of generation, it's going to benefit us all. That's all we're looking for, is cheaper, reliable generation, regardless of where it comes from. We're limited to how much solar we can get on in here. We don't have any great land space to put in solar farms. We don't have enough wind for wind farms. We don't have any running water for hydro. So we have to look at what's left, and we're not going to generate it. We're not going to be self-sufficient. We can be very close to it by putting large-scale community batteries coupled up with solar, and still be using power from the grid. Hopefully, that grid is where it's going to be getting the advantages of things like gas or hydro, large-scale wind and solar, as well as perhaps nuclear into the future. But we're still going to be using that grid that we're all connected to. But if we can also isolate ourselves as a community, similar to how we put a solar and battery on our own home, it's going to benefit everyone.
Yeah, you've mentioned solar farms a few times. Is there any way the local area could implement one, or is there just not enough space here?
You'd really be looking at a lot of land, and we just don't have a lot. We're in a bowl where we're screaming for homes, somewhere to live. We're not going to clear homes to put in solar farms. We can use the roof space, integrate the roof space on new homes a lot more than what we are now by putting solar on them. That'd be one way of alleviating it, but to put in massive solar farms, we just don't have the land for it.
So do solar panels work if it's cloudy outside?
Yes. Do you get sunburnt outside on a cloudy day? Your solar will work as well. It's the same way it works on radiation, not so much direct sunlight. However, without cloud reducing that, you will get less output on a cloudy day than you will on a sunny day, but it still does work. Heavy rainy days, thick cloud will pretty much stop it.
Do solar panels get overwhelmed in high temperatures?
Not overwhelmed, but there is what's called a coefficient of temperature, so that the hotter it is, the less they perform, but it's very minute. And the way the panels are designed now, even that's less of an impact than was 3, 4, 5, 10 years ago.
Do they require constant maintenance?
No. Every couple of years, having someone check it. The way we've got monitoring set up these days, you can certainly see that something's not working or the performance is reducing. If there's an impact, such as a major storm, sure, get it checked, or floods. But on general day-to-day out here, they don't need a lot of maintenance, and it's a simple clean and test.
Do solar panels ultimately pay for themselves?
Yes, the whole solar system, it pays for itself in 3 to 4 years, and your investment's returned.
Do solar panels only work during the day?
They don't work at night. As much as someone will tell you, they just don't work at night.
Are solar panels reliable?
Oh, yes, absolutely, yes.
Can you get solar if you don't own your house?
You would need permission from the owner of the home, but there are plenty of people who do it. Unfortunately, unless your landlord's very happy to supply you free solar systems, which he ultimately benefits, or she ultimately benefits from the asset anyway. And it's a good way to keep a good tenant by providing cheaper electricity. There's no way getting it for free as a tenant, unfortunately.
How many solar panels per home, in your opinion, need to be installed to make the expenditure worth it?
It all comes back to what your usage is on the grid, so it all comes back to the individual's usage. But on average, maybe 18 solar panels these days will do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll give around a 7 or 8 kilowatt system, which is generally enough to get by.
Can widespread and consistent implementation of solar meet the energy demands of a community like Penrith?
Most of it can. There are things that it can't do because it doesn't work at night. But it certainly, as a resident, can certainly offset the majority of your usage as long as you use it while the sun's out. And if you can change your habits, pool filters on during the day when it's sunny, do your dishwashing, do your washing, do your clothes dryers, anything like that during the day, you'll be taking it straight from the solar system. And then at night, you've only got your lights and TV and a few other things going on at night, so you can really make a difference for yourself quite quickly.